Hello, everyone. This is Sean from Barry Digital Media, and I hope you are doing well. Today, we're having a brief chat about community. And community is something that's very important, really, to everybody. Even if you are a lone wolf, having a community can support you in many ways, and really you can support that other community in many ways, and you can find a lot of value in it. And it's really good, no matter if you're a florist, if you are a church representative, if you are in middle school. Community is something that you can give a lot to and not be rewarded, but it can be fulfilling, let's say, in many different ways. And no surprise, but the digital space, the online space, has adapted to that and has brought in its own version of these communities. And if you are just you have a regular job working at McDonald's or Harvey's or Wendy's or anything like that, you can find a lot of benefits by building and supporting a community. More examples. Let's say that you are a gamer. Okay, so I jumped a little bit. So you just have a regular job. You can find a lot of benefit in community. Or let's say you are a career person who's graduated, who's dedicating themselves to their field, like a doctor or a photographer. Community is something that's very important. And similarly, if you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, community, again, is very important. Let's say if you're focusing on a specific niche, having your voice inside of that community can both grow it while also help bring in new clients for your business. And you can also, it's probably one of the better ways to really start to see where trends are going and potentially even set your own trends. A lot of people search for trends and then latch on for trends, but something that I think especially artists try to do is they try to break through the trend. They try to find the new area that hasn't been explored yet and try to find something of value that has not been discovered yet. And so you can see the trends that are going there, either learn from it or break into your own path. And what I was trying to say a little bit earlier before I went back on track is it doesn't even need to be work related. Let's say you're into gaming, fitness, or books, or photography, or crypto. Those are all different areas where you can build upon the community and learn something and then also contribute to. And it's this very underrated, valuable, let's say, commodity that's out there, the community. Now, not all communities are good. Sometimes you can have an unhealthy community, one which is one where their values are not well aligned, where they have not so good intentions. So you always have to have a little bit of critical thinking and always think for yourself and try to do things that are good. But you keep your wits about you. And while I was speaking there, I was thinking there's even a community for, in quotes, black hat SEO. So that's basically people who try to generate revenue through things that are not necessarily moral in their character. So like trying to game Google's search algorithm, or let's say if you wanted to be a hacker and you were trying to hack into like government infrastructure in some sort of way. Those are black hat. But, it's always how you take things. Like, let's say if you were a hacker who got into government databases, then you could always show that vulnerability to those government infrastructures and say that you can help protect them from those kinds of attacks and build a business protecting these institutions from these attacks. Because if there's one person who's able to discover it, then there's probably another one. But the difference is one person is doing it for the good and one is doing it for evil. But let's dive a little bit more into digital communities here. So, going down the list, there's interest-based, like gaming, fitness, professional, like networking and career learning. There's support. There's a lot of people saying that they are struggling with mental health. So sometimes you can find support groups or information through these groups. Although again, like critical thinking and planning things out is still something that you have to look at the advice that's there and see if it does align with a positive trajectory. Brand led, sometimes big brands like Coca-Cola or Nike or Reebok, Adidas. They might try to build their own communities because they recognize that some people are very enthusiastic about their products, and something like Nike or Adidas or Reebok, sometimes those shoes make such a big difference in in people's passions around like soccer or basketball or volleyball, where those products just make their entire game better, and they feel like they can score a couple extra goals because of the quality of these products. Geographic, I think that's especially important. So religion, like churches, Christianity is usually a great community to be involved with, one which goes out and helps the local community with supporting seniors, supporting people who are struggling with mental issues, people who are struggling with getting enough to eat. Usually these community groups can help support all these different issues that are going on, especially with crime too. If you have a strong community with good moral values, then crime will usually be crushed because of the strong community. Gaming, cause-driven. So some of those mix in with each other, but actually I like how Grok here put in some characteristics and benefits. So they're built on trust, shared values, and active participation. Moderation ensures healthy interactions, rules, bots, or admins. Engagement variety, some are highly active. Okay, so we're talking about a digital community there, where they're constantly posting useful information daily, or more passive. Sometimes people just like to read those posts. Platform shapes the vibe. So, X is probably a great case study because there was a time where like censorship was very high on X, but then once Elon took over X, he reduced the amount of censorship on it. Yeah, that's a great thing to go down on. But then I understand that there's some other platforms that are similar to X, but they're much more rigid in their censorship. And both of those have their positive and negatives. Like an open concept like X, you get a lot more discussion and a lot more evolution and a lot more innovation. But at the same time, there's more confusion with it. On the flip side, if you go to another social media channel like X, then you get a little bit more of a cohesive understanding of it, but you're inside a bubble. You're inside a bubble, and there's no looking out of it. And for some people, they don't like the chaotic ability of something that's open. They like just having the one opinion. Discord is nice. So I'll get into Discord a little bit more, but it's like these independent channels, which can either be private or public. Benefits, connecting. It can combat loneliness, builds belonging, knowledge sharing, peer-to-peer learning or advice, influence communities, amplified voices or trends. networking, opportunities on collaboration or jobs, and then some challenges here. Moderation, handling trolls, spams, or toxicity, engagement, keeping members active over time. That's especially something that is difficult. Scale, balancing growth with intimacy. Yeah, when your community grows, especially past like 5 or 15, then that intimacy tends to go away. There's only going to be a few people who still interact, but if it's difficult to see how people interact with a community and how deep it is and how much it affects people. So the scaling is definitely something that's going to be a challenge. And then privacy, managing data, and user safety. Yeah, I mean, having a strong community is good, but because it's built trust, typically that lets people have their guard down. And with their guard being down, it opens up opportunities for people to take advantage of some situations. Now, of course, everybody's value systems are a little bit different from each other. In having a strong, I guess, strong scaling ability in moderation over it will help it, but there's definitely challenges. So before I dive into the rest of this response here, I just wanted to take a look at a couple searches that I did here. So local community Florida. I just did this because I wanted to. I wanted to say that these communities, they can be done online, and they can be something for like your specific area. So if you lived in Tampa, let's say in Florida, there's probably a community there that is right for you where you can engage online, but then you can probably engage in person as well. Similar with this down here, it looks like Villages for Florida, active retirement living at its best. So I mean, if you're a person who is getting onto that retirement age of 55 or older, then I mean, this looks like a possible choice for you and a possible solution for a community. Like world-class golf courses, entertainment, recreation, shopping, dining, and social activities. So that looks like a good community there. Florida Communities Trust, a PDF of some sort, 1,000 Friends of Florida. So there's tons of these different communities that you can find even in Florida. Just taking a look down here. Look at all these communities. Like if you're feeling alone, then you can definitely reach out to many of these. And similarly, I mean, you can set up your own community, or if you're looking to grow yourself, you can look at this information that's online and discover something that is right for you. Okay, let's continue on. So I just did a search here for social media, and then for whatever reason, Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump seems to be dominating the social media trend here. Apparently Newsom's mocking Trump's social media. Latina governor behind Gavin Newsom's social media posts. This is Kamala Zapta, the social media team leader behind. Okay. Yeah, so for some reason, lots of posts around there. Social media giants to sue Colorado regulation. African court may pave the way for holding social media giants to account. Social media court declines to block Mississippi social media age restriction law. Mississippi social media. So, I mean, it's big enough. Social media is clearly big enough where it's taking the attention of, large figures inside of our everyday discourse. All right, nothing else there that's really catching my attention. There was a trend of fact checkers for social media for a while, although many of the times those fact checkers were biased. So that's that. Anyways, then we move on to Facebook, probably one of the original places for online communities that really took shape. It started out just as a small community network, but it has developed into this big, giant community where there's people all over the world in many, many different communities. And you have your community of friends, but then there's communities of businesses, but then there's also smaller communities. And the nice thing is that you can be involved in several communities, all within this Facebook platform. And it's actually quite an incredible platform. I know it gets a lot of flack these days for very good reasons, but it is pretty impressive. Then we have Discord, which is it's a little bit more of a compact community, I would say. A group chat that's all fun and games. Discord is great for playing games and chilling with friends, or even building a worldwide community. Typically, when I hear about Discord, it's usually gamers who like to talk about their game amongst with themselves in their community, and talk about the problems that they're experiencing in the game. Maybe they can't find anybody to play their game with, so they can discover a couple of new players there if they're struggling with the very beginnings of the game. If they're struggling with more of the advanced parts of the game, then these are all different things that they can discuss there. But it doesn't need to all be along with just gaming. It could be about movies, it could be about celebrities, it could be about artwork, it could be about politics, whatever community you're looking for, you can probably find within Discord. And similarly, I noticed when I was playing around with LTX, and then also I think Google's video AI generator, they had their own Discord. So people using their platform could go on to Discord and ask any sorts of questions that they might have had while they're having difficulties with it. In fact, maybe that's something that I should do. In Reddit, this is a giant community as well. They're basically like online discussion boards where you can make a post and then several posts will follow underneath it. So if I said, what is the best community inside of one of the Reddit groups, then many people can answer it, and then many people can have a discussion about it afterwards. And it's really useful in that way, but what's also really useful is I understand Google is looking at Reddit and starting to integrate it more into its search results. So then when you search, what is the best restaurant, then you'll get a couple restaurants at the top, but underneath it you might get a discussion. Like, let's say if you actually search best restaurants in Tampa, Florida, then you might get a Reddit post somewhere and within the search results where it's like, I found this great Italian restaurant in Florida, in Tampa, Florida. Here's where it is. And yeah, so it's a nice integration there. And then, I searched community within X here, and I got some pretty confusing results, probably because I was just searching community and nothing specific. And you can just see that there's tons of different results here. Some sports results, startup community, recall community. I don't know how to pronounce that. Some Roblox community, Battlefield community, more Roblox. People who are concerned about the welfare of animals, a community around there. I think this is crypto community, more crypto community. I don't know, cartoon community, more crypto. So apparently a lot of crypto talk at this one. A nice doggo there talking about money. I guess inventions for baby trebuchet. Some humor communities, rabbits, dogs. Yeah, so lots and lots of different communities there. So let's go back to Grok's post there. And so, really, what I wanted to bring this to was, if you are in the digital space, there's lots of different opportunities to help build your online presence through social media. Whether you are just an individual looking to build yourself or make a passive income, you can potentially do it through these communities. Or let's say you are working, even as a lawyer or a doctor, you can start building a community or join one of the communities and start to contribute to it. So let's just quickly go through these. I don't have too much time, so I'll have to kind of skim by it. But key strategies: content creation, share valuable content, user-generated content, storytelling, engagement tactics, trying to build your community and your involvement there. Platform-specific marketing. This is basically know your channel. Sometimes your product will do better and your product, service, or personality is going to do better in one channel rather than the other. Influencer collaboration, that's basically talking with someone who's already established. Newsletter and email. If you have a community of email addresses, yes, you can do that. And then again, knowing your channel. A lot of these different platforms, how they make money is through advertising to all of their users. And so you're able to advertise on X, Reddit, Google to attract people to either your product or service or even your own community. These communities will give you data insights. They'll basically give you the behaviors of your clients and community feedback. I mean, if you release a product and everybody is saying that here are your problems, it gives you an opportunity to fix them and potentially make a product that has a weak reception into one with a strong one. Best practices: authenticity, consistency, inclusivity, depends how you understand inclusivity, transparency. So what I mean by this one is, if you're against crime, you don't necessarily want your community to be really infiltrated by crime, by gangsters and things like that. I mean, you can try to convince them, but it depends what you mean by that. Challenges: ad fatigue, trust, platform changes, competition, tools for digital marketing, social media, analytics, community platforms like Discourse, Mighty Networks, or Circle for private groups. That's a little bit of learning there for me. I wasn't too familiar with Mighty Networks or Circle. Trends: AI-driven personalization, short-form video dominance, Web3 communities or NFT or blockchains. Not so much NFT. I don't know why that was put there. Voice or AR, augmented reality, is definitely something that is fun. And then growing use of voice chats too. I don't know how that plays in your community. So it looks like Grok is getting a little confused here. Quick tips: start small. I guess what they're talking about is, because social media, you can make a post, but those posts could be created by an AI voice, and so that goes against the authenticity. Anyways, start small, build trust, then scale, prioritize engagement, and then over sales pitches. Test and iterate based on data, respect the community culture, and avoid backlash. And so like I said, I do have to wrap this up, but I hope you found it enjoyable and helpful. I'll see about making another one of these later on. Thank you. Bye.